Welcome, everyone. It's great to be with so many colleagues from different fields here today. As academic staff, you are deeply familiar with research, but today we are zeroing in on a skill that can elevate your work, which is writing a literature review that isn't just good, but exceptional. Our goal is to equip you with tools to craft reviews that position your work, whether it's a journal article, grant proposal, or dissertation chapter, within your field with clarity and impact. A literature review isn't a dry list of past studies, it's a narrative. It maps where your field has been, shows where it stands, and carves out why your work matters. Think of it as your handshake with the academic community. It says, here's what we know, here's what we don't, and here's where I'm stepping in or what I'm going to add to existing literature. Today, we will cover its components, approaches to structuring it, practical steps, and pitfalls to avoid, all tailored to your disciplines. Let's address those as we go. Our lecture key components will be as follows. First, what is a literature review? Impactful literature review components. Approaches to structure literature review. Steps to success. Fields-specific tips. Pitfalls to avoid. Conclusion, and finally, questions. So, let us start with what is literature review. Literature review is not just a summary of the previous work, as the literature review goal is to craft reviews that don't just summarize but critically position your work in the field. A literature review maps where we have been through summarizing the previous contributions, where we are now, and why your study matters, or what are you going to add to the existing literature. So let's dive into what makes it work. Let's start with the building blocks. A strong review has three core components. First one is purpose and scope. It's not about citing every paper ever. It's about what serves your research question. In business administration, for example, if you are studying leadership in remote work, you would cover leadership theories like transformational or situational theories and cover remote work trends and the intersection between leadership and remote work. You wouldn't detour into unrelated areas like supply chain logistics, for an example. There is a very important tip, which is defining your boundaries early. Let's say I will focus on empirical studies from 2015 onward, or I will focus on studies that apply to firms in MENA region only. You need to set your research limits before writing your literature review. Second is structure. This is your skeleton. Without it, your review collapses. You can organize chronologically, thematically, or by methodology. We will explore approaches next. For now, imagine an economics review on monetary policy. You might group it by macroeconomic impacts, firm level effects, and consumer behavior. It's great to use subheadings, as subheadings keep the literature review digestible. Third, critical analysis. This is where you shine as a scholar or as a researcher. Don't just say Adam found X, compare and critic. Adam 2020 study links remote work to productivity, but it's a small sample of 30 firms Bale next to John's 2022 survey of 200 firms. Yet, neither of them digs into employees' retention, which is a gap my work will target. So it isn't about writing everything you found or summarizing a set of papers or articles. It's about analyzing and criticizing those articles. Then ask yourself, what is strong? What is weak? What is missing? Now, let's get into how to frame your review. You have got options. Each approach suits different goals, and your field might nudge to you toward one. The first approach is historical approach. Here we trace the topic's evolution over time. In economics, reviewing trade policy might start with mercantilism in the 16th century, jumping to 20th century tariffs, then hit modern free trade debates in 21st century. It's perfect for showing how ideas shifted over time. Also like how accounting moved from manual ledgers to blockchain transparency. The second approach is the thematic approach. Here we group by key themes. In business administration, for example, a review on organizational change could split into leadership styles, employee resistance, and technological adoption. It's a flexible approach, great for weaving together theories and practice. The linking resource-based view with real-world case studies. It's perfect for complex topics also, or topics which take the shape of a matrix, and it's perfect for interdisciplinary fields. The third approach is methodological approach. Here we sort by research method. In accounting, you might contrast quantitative audits of earnings manipulation, right, like regression models, with qualitative ethics, like interviews. It's perfect for highlighting methods gaps. The last approach is the conceptual approach. Here we focus on theories. In economics, for an example, a tax policy review might bet neoclassical efficiency against behavioral nudges. This approach is ideal for theoretical debates. So let's take an example. Let's say you are reviewing sustainability in firms. If you would use the historical approach, you trace from 1970s pollution laws to today's United Nations Sustainable Development Goals and Human Development Index in 1995. Thematically, you'd split into profit, environment, or HR practices. Methodological, you'd compare surveys to financial models. Conceptually, you would weigh stakeholder theory versus shareholder premise. You need to choose which one of them suits your project best. Your field might lean one way. Economics love historical sweeps, business thrives on themes, but mix and match if it fits your question. The point here is to be intentional. Steps to writing an effective literature review, or what are the main steps to success? We have four main steps here. The first one is source selection. Here, always quality over quantity. Use databases like JSTOR, Scopus, Web of Science, or EconLab. Stick always to peer-reviewed articles, recent and seminal works. That will give reliability and credibility to your work. And here is an important tip. Collect about 20 to 30 sources for a solid review, depending on your scope, of course. Step 2. Organize. Match your approach. If you choose historical approach, sort by date. If you choose thematic approach, cluster by topic. The third step is writing the narrative. Open with a roadmap. You need to tell the reader what he's going to find in the next paragraphs, such as this section traces leadership's evolution, to frame my hybrid work study. Then link studies with transitions. For an example, while Sarah's ties bounces to profits in her study in 2023, Laura's recession data shifts focus to stability in her study in 2024. But my work bridges both. The fourth step is to cite. Use one of the different citation styles according to your field or according to the journal you aim to publish in. There are many styles here, like ABA style, Chicago, IEEE. You need to be consistent and avoid over-relying on one source. Here is some field-specific tips tailored to your field, as field matters. In business administration, blend theory and practice. Here we can use a thematic approach to link leadership and technological adoption. In economics, leaning on models and data, a historical approach fits policy shifts. In accounting, focusing on standards and ethics, a methodological approach can contrast audit studies. Common pitfalls and fixes. Now let's tackle some common pitfalls in writing literature reviews and how to fix them, because even seasoned researchers can stumble here. First, being too descriptive. It's tempting to list studies like bibliography, Muhammad said that, Ahmed said this, but that's not a review, it's just a summary. A good review compares and contrasts. For example, in business administration, you might say Islam's small sample of 20 firms weakens his claims of leadership profit impact compared to Rami's robust dataset of 100 firms, but neither explores employee morale, a key oversight. So how to fix this problem? You need to ask yourself, how does these studies talk to each other? And what's missing? Second, ignoring gaps or missing gaps. A review isn't just about what's been done, it's about what hasn't. If you don't flag gaps, you miss a chance to justify your entire work. Take economics as an example. Plenty of studies model tax cuts, macro effects, but there is no historical look at small firms' responses, an angle my research will tackle. So how to fix this problem? You need to be explicit. Readers won't guess the gap. Spell it out for them. That's your rule. Third, disorganization. A jumbled review confuses readers and weakens your argument. See, you are in accounting, reviewing audit quality. If you jump from ethics to technological standards without a clear connection between them, it's going to be a mess. How to fix this problem? Tie your approach. Choose whether historical, thematic, whatever matches your research question. For instance, this review traces audit technological evolution to show how my study on AI tools fits. And remember, structure isn't optional, it's your roadmap. Fourth, over-reliance. Over-reliance on one source, like citing a paper of some researcher 10 times. That looks very lazy and biased. Diversify and spread citations across keywords. And one last step. Step back and read your draft. Does it flow? Does it critic? Does it point somewhere? Avoiding these pitfalls turn a good review into a great one. So let's wrap it up. We have covered a lot today, but it boils down to this. A great literature review is purposeful, critical, and structured. It's not just a formality, it's the backbone of your research, whether you are publishing in an academic journal, securing grant, or guiding a PhD student. Purposeful means that you need to be focused on your question. Every study you include should serve your story. Critical means you are not just reporting, but digging in, comparing strengths, exposing weaknesses, and spotlighting gaps like we practice. Structured means you pick an approach, historical, thematic, methodological, or conceptual, that fits your goal and stick to it, so your readers can follow the thread. You've got options: trace a topic's history to show its evolution, group by themes to tackle complexity, or compare methods to sharpen your angle. The right choice depends on your field and your research questions. Business might lean thematic, economics historically, accounting methodologically, but the key is intentionality. Before we part, remember that you are already an expert in your field. Now you've got a sharper edge for framing your work. So let's open floor for any questions or thoughts. Thank you.